wherever you're at in Facebook land, in cyber land. This is Craig Lee coming at you live and direct all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana, here at the studio of my good partner Charles Patterson, one of our good grassroots advocates as well. And we're here this morning with a special interview with none other than Brother Alonzo Baby Savage, God of Grind Sanders.
Yes, sir.
And we got some positive things we're going to be discussing today with this brother. And we're going to get into several aspects, Brother O, as we talk about your building, your vision for the city of Shreveport, empowerment of black folks. But let's start off by telling everybody who you are, your upbringing in the city of Shreveport, and how you became the entity that you become. Because I think you're one of the most visionary, intelligent cats that I've met. I know since I've been here in the city of Shreveport and throughout the country.
Yeah. Well, originally from Baton Rouge, born in Baton Rouge, moved to Mansfield with my grandmother and my dad when I was per se around about 12. Graduated from high school, moved to Shreveport at 19.
Okay.
And been in Shreveport ever since I was 19.
Okay.
So the period of the time where after I graduated, what made me move to Shreveport, I got in some trouble in Mansfield, selling drugs. Went to prison for roughly 2 years. And when I got out, moved back to Shreveport. I had already purchased a house before I went to prison though, so my home was still in Shreveport. But while I was in prison, educated myself. When I was in prison, I spent about $2,000 on books.
Wow.
While I was in prison. And when I say I studied 24 hours, we're talking about college books, 1,000, 2,000 pages thick, reading them. I got nothing but time, right? So we're talking about some of these days I'm reading 15 hours straight. Some of these books I've read 5 and 10 times, from psychology to business to even the encyclopedia. You know, because I wanted to learn other words so I could be more articulate.
That's right.
Learned about the music business. That was one book that I read and I studied it, and when I got out, my mind was already programmed with the business, so it's kind of different from getting in the music business and not knowing.
Yeah.
So when I got into the music business after I got out of prison, I started implementing what I learned from books. Started making money, got bigger, got bigger, got bigger. When I got to a certain level, I learned about real estate, stocks, construction, automobiles, different things like that, and started doing different businesses. So as you progress, when I got to a certain level and I kind of got stuck at a certain level financially, meaning I couldn't get above that. So I started educating myself more, and I learned that I'm going to have to multiply what I'm doing in other cities, other states.
Okay. Going into different territories.
In different territories. So this is where the idea of my buildings come from.
Okay.
Me being in Shreveport for the past 20 years and just noticing like all the other independent rappers, the guys who look up to me because they see I'm the guy who made the money.
Yeah.
So they always got questions for me if they want information. Also, not only that, but when I was involved in the streets, what made me scared to get back involved was when I started getting more educated and making more money.
On the legitimate side.
On the legitimate side. So that right there helped me to understand that I gotta pass that along to these other guys because that's gonna help them get up out of the streets as well too.
And so the music genre that you focused on in terms of the books that you were reading was like the hip hop music genre, i.e. rap music. So you saw that there was an avenue for you to now penetrate that industry, make some money, not just as an artist, but as an actual legitimate business entity. What distinguishes you from the artists who's just trying to rap and perpetrate like they got all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
to you actually having these things. Because you're actually, and we're going to get into the building, but what is it that distinguishes the artist from the actual business person? The one artist from being like a Jay-Z or a Puffy, the owners of stuff, or you look at Dr. Dre, these people who are on, or 50 Cent, you come to a Master P, the Williams brothers, or Jay Prince. How did you get into that business side? I know you were reading the books, but what is it uniquely about the business component versus most people just want to be artists?
You know, I want the money. I want a certain lifestyle. And when I learned that education was going to get me there,
Okay.
I started pursuing more of the business versus just the music.
Okay.
A lot of artists, they stick to the music, but if you notice any artist who just worries about the music, they normally have a guy like me
Behind the scenes.
who's doing the business. Or even in the front, you know, you got the Birdman, you got the Master P's and all those guys. They had artists, but they were also the guy who ran the show too.
Exactly.
So I've always wanted to be a businessman. And truthfully, even with the music, that wasn't my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned it so easily, and I made a lot of money off of it. So even though it wasn't my passion, I did it to make the money, so I can then get the money and
Diversify
and put it in the passion.
Yeah, and so we get the money by way of the music, and then you start to get into what are your primary investment portfolio focus?
Real estate. And right now, what I'm focusing on is building 16 buildings.
Wow.
But that's for the music industry.
Wow.
Of course, it's going to be diversified, different things, but the headquarters, which is going to be here in Shreveport,
wow,
which is the 7-story building.
Yes, sir. In District B.
Yeah.
In District B, Shreveport.
Yeah. It's a 7-story building, although it's only 4 floors, because each height of the ceiling is almost 12 feet. So, which makes it a 7-story building, which I wanted to go way bigger than that, but after having meetings with the city and stuff like that, they talked me out of it. But
which brings us to where we're at
right now.
Now, because a few years ago, and just so you guys know, I was told about this cat some years back, and I was like, they were like, Craig, you got to get with this cat. Baby Savage. And I was like, I told Brother O, I say, man, I heard the name Baby Savage. I'm like, oh my. But I'm straight grassroots on the political end. Yeah. And so had never met him. And this cat walks into a Shreveport City Council meeting, and he starts to articulate about his plans of doing this building. And I'm like, Baby Savage, I say, that's the dude that they told me about. And let me tell you, he is the prototypical example of the old saying, you never judge a book by its cover. Yeah. Cause bruh, this cat here, brilliant. So now I meet you, and as he told me just the other month, he had already done his research on me. Cause we're now collaborating, because this dude is in politics and everything, and now he's going in on public policy. So now, you got the idea, you want to make Shreveport the headquarters for your vision. How do we now get to the point where you got issues about doing things like this? Because your positive example can help to stop some of this damn crime that's going on. So where are we at? How do we get to this?
See, it all began in 2016.
Okay.
I purchased this property, it was commercial.
All right.
Already commercial. This was B2 before they came in with the new UDC or whatnot.
Okay, talk about B2, the zoning.
The zoning for B2 is commercial. You can basically do several things up under that zoning what it allows. So what I wanted to do up under that, it already allowed me to do it and build my commercial building. So from 2016 to 2018, I visited the MPC and permits office over 7 times. Now this is documented because every time you go in there, you gotta sign the paper.
That's right.
And I requested that information, so I got the actual logs of the dates I was in there, the times I was in there, as well as about the third time I started videotaping them. So I go in there with my camera because I feel like something was wrong, just my human intuition. So I videotape some of the things, and when I was trying to get a permit, and me being a little, I guess, naive, because I went in there thinking that the city and the people who are basically making the city move with the businesses are going to be all for it,
yeah.
Bringing in a huge building.
That's right.
That's going to supply over 100 careers.
That's right.
Because, you know, we could talk about some of the businesses that's bringing in jobs that are going to be paying maybe $15, $20 an hour. My jobs are going to be providing $50,000 to $150,000 annual salary.
Yes, sir.
So it's a big difference,
yes,
you know,
sir.
between someone going in there working an hourly job, then someone getting an actual career, and not only that, learning, and then maybe possibly one day branching off on their own and starting their own businesses.
Which you wouldn't have any problem.
No problem, because if I show you what to do and you go ahead and start it on your own, it's just more for you to preach about where you came from.
That's right.
And that's gonna bring me more
followers.
That's right.
As well. That's right.
But so I went in there 7 times. I go in there 2018, and they say, hey, you don't have to go through this process, which is the pre-site plan, the planning application, and all that. You can just go ahead and build your building.
Okay.
But you got to build a house. I said, I got to build a house. I bought the land commercial. I plan on building a commercial building. Well, we changed the zoning, so you can't build a commercial building anymore. So all of that from 2016 to 2018, sending me back, not letting me get a permit, not letting me go through the pre-site plan application, was to defer me, to keep me from building my building until they can change the UDC.
And that's the Unified Development Code.
So now I can't build a commercial building, I got to build a residential. So it was a big fight about that. I basically went before the city council.
And that's when I met you.
Right. And what happened was Elizabeth Swain and her party, they want to develop some condos or townhouses in that area.
So the plot thickens.
Yeah.
And I want people to understand, just because you got money, just because you got expertise, doesn't mean that you can just now go maneuver, because they got games that they play, and his case is a great example of that. Continue.
So when I go to the city council and I'm explaining what you heard, it's like, oh, this brother's articulate about his business plans. And, you know, the first step is to go before the MPC board.
That's right.
Now, I was in the streets for a long time.
Yeah.
I have an intuition that an average person wouldn't understand.
That's right.
I can tell when something's going wrong because I've done so much wrong.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, I can see it. So when they voted for my land to not be rezoned back to commercial, I started doing some digging. And what I found was the person who denied my application was put on that board and recommended on that board by Elizabeth Swain. So not only did she put him on the board and give him a recommendation, they worked together at an insurance company for over 5 years.
Connecting the dots, y'all. Right. The way that this game is played, if you can't think, not just regular think, but critically think and connect the dots, you are through. Now, I had not mentored this guy. This is why I love this cat's spirit. This cat already understood how to start to connect the dots. Continue.
So when I found out that he denied my application, she recommended him to get on the board, plus they worked together, I said, this can't be legal. So I did a little bit more research, and it led me to the Louisiana Board of Ethics.
Yes, sir.
So I wrote the Board of Ethics, and I told them about what happened, and they sent me a letter back saying that it was more of a district matter that I needed to take it to court. So after reading the Code of Ordinances and the City Council codes, I found the clause, and I can't remember the section, but it said that it was illegal. So I contacted the feds.
Yes, sir.
Because I understood, contacting the police. These people they're here to crimes of citizens. We dealing with officials now.
Yeah.
So after I contacted the feds, I made a complaint. I sent that to the city council. I sent everything I had found out to the city council. So now what happens is I go before the city council and they remand me back to the MPC again.
Yeah, they're gonna play the game with you.
Yeah, so when they remand me back to the MPC, this time, Marisa Rucker, who denied my application, he isn't on the board. He isn't present that day, right? This time, they recommend my land to go back commercial. I didn't even show up to the meeting because I said, this isn't real court. These people can do what they want to do.
Yeah.
This isn't like going to district court where a judge has to play it by a rule book, and if he does wrong, he can be fired.
Yeah, exactly.
And things like that. They have no consequences.
Exactly.
So I didn't even show up. But long story short, they changed it back to commercial.
Did y'all get that? They changed the zoning back to commercial when they were trying to prevent him from doing commercial in the beginning to force him to do residential. And so now, because he steps to the table with some intellect and some research and starts to put a little pressure. And this is before I even got involved with this brother. So he was handling up on his business. They now go back to commercial. Continue.
So now it goes to commercial. I'm already at 3 stories
Okay.
on my building. Because I bought the land, I already had everything done. So it's like, I can't stop now. So here we are with permits. I'm on the 3rd level. They already know I'm going to a 4th level.
Yeah.
I put the 4th floor on, and he comes and he gives me a stop work order. Saying, hey, you gotta stop what you're doing. And now you have to go back and start all over again, do the pre-site application, which what I was trying to do in 2016.
At the beginning, exactly.
Yeah. You got to do the site plan application, everything. You got to get your architect, and everything has to go back through us again. And then we can approve your permit. Then you can finish building, right? Well, I say, hey, well, that might take 5 to 6 months. My building's already being weathered, different things like that. I have to protect my building.
That's right.
Not only that, it's in the main part of the city where 178,000 people pass by a day.
That's right.
According to DOTD. And I don't want people passing by my building constantly just seeing it in the rain wrapped up.
That's right.
Looking crazy. So I said, listen, I'm going to get an architect. I'm going to do everything I got to do. I'm going to go through every process, but I need to just finish my building on the outside and put the siding on it. Then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Now, the guy, Mike Sepulveda, which is the chief building official right now, previously it was Gary Norman.
Yeah.
But when it was Gary Norman, I had problems and issues with Gary Norman because they called me in there to a meeting to tell me not to build my building 4 stories, to only go 3. I asked why. They didn't give me a reason. I said, my heart says 4 stories. I'm not a part of the go along, get along game. So I'm going to do what I feel like I want to do. Now, if you give me some logical, legal reason why maybe in the area I shouldn't go, and it's understandable, then of course.
Yeah.
But not just to prevent some other group or whatever from building. Because a lot of people don't realize if you have commercial land,
come on,
it can't be next to residential.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
In that entire area. So I'm not trying to keep these people from building what they're trying to build.
Yeah.
But I was here first. You could have bought the land before.
Exactly.
And I did everything the legal way. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So Gary Norman, I do a little research on him.
Yes, sir.
Turns out that he's friends with Elizabeth Swain. They got all type of pictures in the paper together. And I wondered why the city council denied me.
Yeah.
So I did some more research. Found out that Gary Norman, one of the city councils who came to oppose me out of the blue.
Yeah.
He was previously a city council member before Levette Fuller.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
So
That's Jeff Everson.
Jeff Everson.
Yes, sir.
So I was like, how did he just show up to my meeting?
Yes, sir.
And he wants to oppose me. He has nothing to do with this area anymore.
Yes, sir.
He's off being a real estate agent.
Yes, sir.
And I'm trying to
But
figure
he's off being a what?
a real estate agent.
Real estate agent.
So
He's in real. Connect the dots.
yeah. So
Former city councilman.
So I say everybody leaves some type of trail.
That's right.
So I Google Gary Norman and Jeff Everson and a building downtown, the old Anita Biscuit building.
Yes, sir.
It had fell in and caved in one day, and the guy next door called the city to come do an inspection because it needed to be tear down.
Yeah.
So Gary Norman said the structure was sound and safe and wrote it up.
Ooh.
So I say, now this building just fell down. You said it was structurally
Ooh.
sound and straight. And the guy, it just caved in right next door. It could have killed someone.
Ooh.
But he said it was structurally sound and safe. It was a real estate agent over there.
Ooh.
Could you guess which one it
Oh,
was?
I wonder who was that real estate agent. Could it be Jeff Everson?
Definitely.
Oh, see, folks, this is what goes on not only in the city of Shreveport and the parish of Caddo,
Yeah.
but throughout the United States of America. There are layers and layers and layers and layers of corruption. That's why they've attempted to stop me from becoming city council, because cats like this would be given the opportunities to now help our city and not be prevented, because this is the game. This is why Levette Fuller is in office. But we got something for you, Levette. We got something for you.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
So after I found out that Jeff Everson was a real estate agent over the Anita
Ooh.
Biscuit and it had fell down, and then Gary Norman said it was structurally sound, and that Jeff Everson was just basically trying to buy time so he could sell the building. Because
Ooh.
once you sell the building
Yes,
in
sir.
someone's hands, people don't understand the process. If I have a house and the city says it's about to be tore down,
Yeah.
or a building, and someone comes by this building,
Yeah.
before they tear it down,
Yeah.
the city has to start the process all
Yeah.
over again now.
Yeah.
They have to serve this person and then
Yeah.
give that chance a person to go to court. That could take a whole process of 6
Yeah.
months to a year. So when he said it was structurally sound, it bought enough time for the building to be sold, whatever. So I said, okay. I contacted the Louisiana Contractors License Board.
Ooh.
This is against Gary Evans and made a complaint. I mean Gary Norman.
Yeah.
And made a complaint. And here after I made this complaint, I started finding other businesses who had problems with the permit department. I did research. I contacted the attorney for the city and requested anyone who has had a problem with the city permits department to give me that paperwork. After that, contacted all of them and then made sure that they contact the Louisiana contractors.
Yeah.
So now Gary Evans was the chief official. I mean
Gary Norman.
was. I keep saying Gary Evans.
Yeah.
He's a DA in Mansfield.
Exactly.
But we're talking about Gary Norman. So after I did that, next year, he's no longer the building official.
Ah.
Now Mike Sepulveda
is
is the building official. And I put billboards up on that building with their faces, calling them corrupt, calling them out, created a website, put all the information on there because I wanted the city to see it. So with me trying to point all this out, because there's a lot of things going on, I can go into detail about a lot more.
Yeah.
But here we are now. I put up my siding around my building. No problems at all.
And it looks like if you all have been over the Horseshoe Casino, his building is along that style of development, copper side, and it's nice.
So I had a talk with Mike Sepulveda, who's now the head building chief official.
Yeah.
I said, Mike, I just want to put up my siding. You asked me to get an architect. I got an architect now.
Yeah.
He's already sent. You can't just say I got an architect.
Yeah.
My architect had to send in a letter stamped saying that he's on the project and he's going to be finished.
Yeah.
He did that. I said, now that's what y'all asked me to do. You said you was going to allow me to protect my building. I want to put the siding up. I go, they said, well, we want to see the siding. You already seen the siding, I already gave it to you, but I'll play your game. I bring him a siding, piece of the siding, and the next day I get a letter before he can, because I'm telling him I want to put my siding up, so he hurry up and send me a letter, I guess, to try to stop me from putting up my siding and say, you can put up the wrap around your building. You can wrap, we will allow you to wrap your building, but not put up the siding. But that wasn't our agreement per conversation, man to man.
Exactly.
Man to man, we had a conversation. You said if I get an architect, you would allow me to put up my siding around my building. But you have other influences around you.
That's right.
So like, I don't really think, I can't really say what Mike is or who he is, but I know he's gonna ride with
who's employed,
and the people who've been there a long time. That's right. So, you know, I asked myself, I said, we dealing in Shreveport. Shreveport is 67% black.
That's right.
Most of the tax dollars are being accumulated by us.
Yeah.
Why do these same people keep getting these same jobs for the past 20 years?
Do y'all hear that?
In Government Plaza.
Do y'all hear that?
This is what I'm asking myself.
Exactly.
Because these people aren't here to help our community.
Exactly.
You're getting paid with Shreveport tax dollars.
Come on.
But you're living in Bossier.
And you're living in Bossier. You're living in DeSoto Parish.
Or Stonewall.
Stonewall. You're living in East Texas. Some of you probably living in Arkansas. You see, this is what happens, people, when grassroots folks are not involved in the political process.
Yeah.
A legitimate business owner. See, they thought he was just a rapper. They didn't know this cat was intelligent. They didn't know he had resources, and he wasn't just out here going to the strip club and making it rain. Yeah. He's making it rain on getting them damn lawyers and getting in your life and doing research. So they maintain the system because now they put Negro faces, melanated faces, who now play these games with the Negro voters. And so the infrastructure, the anatomy of the city never changes inside. So nothing ever happens for the residents.
Right.
And they ain't figured it out yet. Yeah. So now when I bring it to them, they're like, oh, this guy's a troublemaker, which I am. Yeah. This the new troublemaker, yeah. But we're talking about the substantive dynamic of now leveraging the equity of our tax revenue for the benefit of our people.
That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
And now here we are. I put up my siding. Still no problem. The siding been up for almost a month or 2 months.
Sir.
I'm almost through putting up all the siding.
Yes, sir.
I put the picture up.
He put his picture in.
I put the picture up.
He flossing now. He flossing.
Look, the next day, after I put up the picture, the next day, on the news, on bloggers' websites, on 710 Kill, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, weird building, crazy building. These
are
the titles.
Yeah, the title.
So I say, this isn't news.
Yeah.
Like, no news channel is going to sit up here and do that to someone, right? This is like a campaign.
A campaign against a legitimate. And here's what's so funny about Kill. Cool. Here's what's so funny about Kill Radio. None of them, Aaron McCarty, her colleague, they're not business owners.
Yeah.
They ain't got no real estate holdings like this brother.
Yeah.
So they want to attack him and run a campaign. So guess what, Kill? We pushing back. We got some grassroots media outlets, and that's what we're doing today. So you can get the real story from the person who got the weird building.
Right.
Who really has a game plan to help our people. Keep on.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. All they did was create a hub for blacks and whites to argue.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna tell you something, because when they first posted that, all the comments it was got.
Yeah.
Now it wasn't just. I had a lot of white people supporting me.
Yes, sir.
I had all of the black people supporting me. Then you have a certain select group of white people who against it, right?
Okay.
But with some of the stuff that they were commenting on there, I'm like, no one can even know like this level of understanding
Yeah.
unless they've been involved
Exactly.
with the permits department.
Exactly.
Like you don't. The average person doesn't know
Never.
about planning, design,
Exactly.
and zoning.
Exactly.
So how can they even put that out? And I'm like, so they're running a campaign against me to, I guess, make me look crazy in
Yeah.
front of everyone. Right?
And they would have to get that information from the people inside.
Right,
The
exactly.
Liz Swains, those people who
Right.
are working inside
Right.
who have a campaign against you.
But we talking about KTBS 3,
Yeah.
right? Who constantly promotes this. Where did Elizabeth Swain used to work?
KTBS.
So we all know KTBS and what they do to the majority of black people. Like,
That's right.
I watch these other news stations. They don't promote certain things. If you kill someone,
Yeah.
that's news, of course.
Yeah.
But they don't sit up here and try to intentionally
Yes, sir.
hurt people with their news and then promote it as well.
Yes, sir.
And only KTBS does that.
Yes.
Right? And I've heard the voices of a lot of other black people who see it as well too. Because at first I thought it was just me, and then I went on Facebook and it was other situations, maybe 5 to 15 other situations that I just noticed where people are talking about this media and like, why are they doing this?
Exactly.
So you gotta, like, it's 2021. We would be foolish to think that it isn't a certain group of people who are looking for the demise
That's right.
of black people, right? The KKK is still exist.
That's right.
All these people, racism still exists,
Yeah.
right? So we could talk about me and that building and the symbolism that it may have for another young brother in the streets to say, man, I know Baby Savage.
Yeah.
He used to be over there in Cedar Grove. I
That's
know
right.
the house where he stayed. I remember we had all the orange cars in the yard.
Exactly.
And I used to pass by there and see him all the time. Now he got this.
Yeah.
Man, I know I could do it too. Baby
I
Savage
can do
did
it. Exactly.
He owned this as his land. It's a lot of people who don't want that. They're like, oh, what? They always want to play the racism card. Man,
That's the reality.
when you're talking about the government and we just really dig deep into how we're segregated, like I was doing some research about the businesses in Shreveport,
Yeah.
right? And about how many buildings are in Shreveport
Mm-hmm.
and the percentage that is owned by black people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're talking about 80-something% still not owned
Yeah.
by black people,
Yeah.
that most of us are renting.
Yeah.
And then the rent money goes into the owner's pockets, and the owners keep on developing and giving
Exactly.
generational wealth to their kids, and we don't have nothing.
Exactly.
So an example that I'm setting is saying, hey, we're going to buy our own land, we're going to build our
That's
own
right.
businesses, and we're going to help our own community.
That's right.
And we're going to keep on passing this down to our children. So when our children grow up, they're going to grow up in wealth as well. They're starting off middle class. There's no more